Hello. Week 8 of The Artist Way. Right now, I'm listening to Patty sing a song on TikTok. Hold on. I'm listening to, on repeat currently. Hold on. Close my eyes. Baby. Oh, every time I close my eyes. Patty on TikTok, babyface. Anyways, um, week 8 was terrible for me. And the only reason why I'll say that is because I did 0 tasks. I did no tasks. And I did my artist date, but I did do my artist date and I did my morning pages every day. I haven't even done the check-in questions yet, so I guess I'll just write them in after I'm done with this. But I didn't talk about what I did, the task that I did in week 7. I did 3 in week 7. I did the mantra, of treating myself like a precious object will make me strong. I did that. I did the hospital chapel when I went to go see Papa on Monday. And then on Sunday, I wrote down my favorite movies. But I did talk about my favorite movies in the week 7 check-in. Anyways, week 8 talked about strength. And I remember learning that there's a morning that has to happen when, like, creatively you don't get what you want, or creatively it doesn't work out the way that you had planned. And it made me think about how I auditioned to be Sylvia in a Two Gents production at APT, and I really, really wanted it. Not like, okay, that's a little far-fetched. It was like, my friend had told me, she was like, I think you have the heart for it. And I was like, really? Me? Okay, well, I'll check it out or whatever. And then as I started to, like, read it and as I started to get into the character analysis, I was like, no, wait, this would be actually really, really fun to do. And the way they're doing it, like, not a Western, but they're doing, like, a bluegrass, kind of like a, when Carrie gave me the description, she was like, Brother, Where Art Thou? The movie with George Clooney. But there's this, like, Big River or whatever the musical is that Deaf West did, and it's like a bluegrass. It's not Western. It's more of a bluegrass. And so I keep saying that, but, like, that's like country, that type of country. And so for my audition, I needed to sing a song, and I did something from Bright Star. Bright Star is literally one of my favorite musicals. Literally no skips. That is a no skip musical album for me. I don't care. Bright Star is so gorgeous. I love it so much. So I was just, like, really excited about the opportunity to do it. And then I heard from the casting director that, like, the direction that they wanted to go in for Sylvia was, like, she was gonna be not necessarily hypersexualized, but it was like, it was in a way that, like, would be really interesting to see, and I really wanted to, like, explore that with the director. But, I guess I wasn't the director's cup of tea, or I guess something didn't work out, like, a whole bunch of stuff has to work out for that to happen. But technically, I guess I wasn't the director's cup of tea because he didn't call me back, so maybe. So yeah, and then there was, page 133. In order to recover our sense of hope and the courage to create, we must acknowledge and mourn the scars that are blocking us. And I started thinking about all the times that, like, I wanted to get a role but didn't. especially the ones that like were supposed to be ours. And it made me think of in high school, man, my junior year, we did Shrek the Musical. And I remember leading up to that point, it was the first time I had ever done vocal lessons for an audition. I had done so much work on Fiona. I was going to go for Fiona. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is my time. Like, this is my time to get my first leading role. Oh my gosh, like, it's my time to be, not necessarily, it was my time to be in the front. I was like, look, I pay my dues as a freshman in my sophomore year. I was like, okay, you know, I've been in the ensemble, but it's time, you know what I'm saying? It's time for me to be up front. And I remember my music teacher, Mr. Hayner, he was like, I remember him telling me one day, he was like, yeah, I want a black Fiona. And I was like, you know, I was like, oh my gosh. And really, it was between me and another girl that was very prominent in the her name was Caitlin. It was very like it was only two people that was up for the role. It was only two people. It was me and Caitlin. And I remember being so ready for it. And I remember it wasn't just what Hayner said, but it was a whole bunch of stuff that like built up to where I was like, oh, this is mine. I remember doing the initial audition, and it was I Know It's Today. And it was just like, that was just like mine. And I killed it. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, like, Alexa, like, that was amazing. That was an amazing, you know, initial callback or whatever. I mean, initial audition or whatever. And then I remember we had our dance call, and I did the dance call. You know, I tap dance because Fiona has to tap dance with her rats or whatever. I was like, cool. And I remember that Caitlin was more versed in tap than me. And so she did the more complicated, like, option for the dance call. But I was like, that doesn't deter me from the fact, just because you do the more complicated one, doesn't mean I didn't eat down. Okay? Like, I was just like, I remember being like, I did my best, and I'm finna show out in these callbacks. Watch. So I remember being called back for Fiona and being called back for, like, Gingy specifically. And I remember it got down, like, callbacks were hours long. Callbacks were hours long because depending on if, like, they kind of, like, did, like, the biggest stuff first, and then they dwindled down to, like, it was like a upside down pyramid, because at the end of the night, like, we started callbacks, like, right after school ended. We went down until it was dark outside, and it was just me, Caitlin, and the guy that was going to be Shrek. And I remember being like, cool. So they told us what song we were supposed to do for the callback. It was different. It wasn't, I Know It's Today. I can't remember the song from Shrek. It was the I need the receipts. I can't remember. But it was, like the one with, they have that, like, bickering back and forth. Hold on. It was, I Think I Got You Beat. And so I was, like, ready for it. Excuse me. And I remember they gave us the sheet music for the callback. They were like, just in case you guys want it. Child, I put that sheet music down. I said, baby, let's go. I was ready. You know what I'm saying? I was making choices with the guy. His name was Andrew. And everything. Child. And I remember going home, and I was like, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. Like, I was like, they have no reason to not pick me. No reason. Because I had, you know what I'm saying. And I remember after the cast list came out, specifically, I remember a girl that was my best friend at the time, Shelby. She called me. She was like, "Did you see the callback list?" She was the stage manager for it, and she was like, "Did you see the callback?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I can't remember what else I said, but I was very still. You know what I'm saying? You know when like you feel a very big emotion, you might be like mad, you might be pissed off, you might be sad, you might be depressed, but like the emotion is so high that you're just still. I was just still. I remember being very calm, but also not being very calm. But it wasn't like anger. It wasn't anger or it wasn't sadness, but it was something else. But I was just like, beep. You know what I'm saying? And so then I remember something else. And then I remember something else happening where I said something else. And I remember hearing something in the background. And I said, "Is there somebody else on the line with us right now?" She was like, "Oh, yeah, Caitlin's on the line." I remember Caitlin being on the line, and I think I was like, "Congratulations, Caitlin," or something like that, or "I'm happy for you," or something. And then my mom was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I didn't get it." And so I remember the next morning I got a text from Miss Williams, like on my phone, it was crazy to me because I didn't even know she had my number or whatever, but we did put our numbers, I guess, on the audition sheet or whatever. But I don't think she had really ever texted me before that or whatever. But I remember getting a text message from her the next morning, and she was like, I was actually looking for the text message last Sunday when I was like thinking about all this. But basically I remember her telling me that like why they went in the other direction, or like, you know what I mean? Just something that you just, you hear and you're like, "Oh, yeah." And so I remember just I found it. Oh my gosh, wait. I remember. Wait, I found our text thread. Oh my gosh. I feel like reading it right now. Okay. It says, "I really wanted to talk to you in person, but with Thanksgiving break, I knew I couldn't do that for a week. I just want you to know what an incredible job you did in your audition. It really was one of the most difficult decisions we had to make. Your acting was unbelievable. I also want you to know it is okay to be disappointed. I've been in your shoes so many times, and that is the really hard part about theater. Just know this. You are going to be incredible in this show. Your Genji reading was so funny. You are going to be everyone's favorite, including mine. Know that these times are what God uses to define our character, to make us stronger, and to help us later in life be able to empathize with those who are hurting. I love you, and you are I guess, an incredible young woman." She said, "P.S. You will also be Sugar Plum Fairy." I was confused between Fairy Godmother and Sugar Plum. And that was the next day. I remember getting that text message. And I remember just being like, okay, well, I have to like, respond in a very demure, very like cutesy way. You know what I mean? And I can't remember what I said, but I can go back and look. Hold on. I remember I said, "Good morning. Yes, I totally get it with us having a full week off. Thank you for acknowledging my amazing performance in auditions." And then my mom probably helped me with this part. She was like, my mom has really instilled in me it's all right to feel disappointment. It's good to know that there are teachers that understand. These are the times that I trust in God the most. I love you too. Have a great break. But I remember just being so really like disappointed. And I remember I was Sugar Plum Fairy, Gingy in the ensemble. So I was in like the Duloc. I was one of the tap dancing rats. And I just remember hearing like who I'd be and stuff or whatever. I just be like, cool. And I remember having a lot of fun because, I was with everybody and we just had so much fun in the ensemble. Because the thing is like, yes, you want to be the lead, but like the ensemble has so much fun because they just get to be the ensemble together. I get to just mess around all the time. So I remember, having that time and having a lot of fun. I remember coming, like, because we were in the ensemble with my friend Brima. I don't know why I'm name dropping so much in this, but my friend Brima, we did Shrek check-ins on Snapchat, and we would be like, Shrek check-in. You know what I mean? He wasn't even in the ensemble. He was Donkey. I don't even know how that came, girl. I don't even know why that came into my mind. But anyways, I just remember thinking about that. And, I'm really disappointed that I didn't do any of the tasks this week. My, what's it called? My artist date. Goodness gracious, my artist date was watching Avalon High, girl. That was like low key a deep cut. I have not watched that movie in like so long. But I was reading Legendborn all week. Oh my gosh. Legendborn was amazing. It was incredible. Oh my gosh. Legendborn was insanely, amazingly wonderful. I just finished book 2 of the series, Bloodmarked. That was also really good. I gave Legendborn 5 out of 5 stars. And I gave Bloodmarked, I think, like a 4.7. It was like, there were a couple things that I was like, wait, what? But overall, very, very good. Very, very good. And then the next book is Oathbound. Now, I believe that I said this before, but the guy that introduced me to this series, Rastel, said that he was when he originally read Legendborn, he thought of me as the main character. Like when he was like placing people in his mind, when he casted it, he was thinking about me. So she is me, right? Like I'm her. It's giving. Is that not giving me? I don't know. I feel like it's giving me, but I don't know. So, I mean, this whole time, I've been, thinking about Bree as me. So, period. There wasn't any synchronicity last week, but I also will say, funny enough, some weeks back I was talking about auditions for grad school and everything. Did not end up auditioning, or I didn't register to audition because a lot of different things, financial things, but also just like I wasn't prepared, and for that kind of thing I gotta be prepared. I'm not gonna get up there without adequate time. So yeah, I think that this week is gonna be nice. I'm gonna lock the heck back in. Like today is Monday night, and I haven't even read week 9's Recovering a Sense of Compassion. No, I mean like I haven't even done my stuff. Like I've been lacking over the last couple of days because for one I've been reading a lot, but last week I was just like not in my brain, I guess. But I put on the list to talk about Doechii. Doechii and I are literally still like this. The stuff that she be feeling, I'm also feeling. You know what I mean? And like it's kind of like lightened up a little bit. Excuse me, because we also are on different times in our lives and everything. But like seeing her go through this has been amazing. And it's like I feel like we're like this in our journey of the artist way. To where it's kind of like, I feel like Marsai Martin in that in that video when she's like, you know what I mean? Because, it's kind of just like, well, if my life turns out, goes like bam, the way that Doechii says, I wouldn't really mind. I wouldn't really mind. Yeah, so I'm just going to watch week 8 of Doechii and read week 9 and just get into week 9. I'm finna do a lot of tasks, I think. And yeah, so today is Monday. Wednesday is New Year's Eve. Thursday's New Year's Day. And I have 30 letters left. That's all I'm saying. Because my future self is going to know what I'm talking about. I have 30 letters left. So I'm going to lock the heck back in. And I'm not going to start Oathbound until tomorrow. I'm going to chill. And I'm going to let my brain settle on what happened in book 2. There was so much happening in book 2. You know what I'm saying? A lot of new characters. I said, okay. And it didn't go the way that I thought that it would. Because I thought that Alice was going to need to be oathed. I think at the end. I think that Alice is going to be oathed to William. It gives. That's going to be his squire. And they're going to be so cutesy and adorable together. Anyways. Yeah, I gotta get back. And tomorrow I'm also going to do my Vogue 2026 book things. Because I'm going to do 2026 bingo in there. A whole bunch of other stuff. That'll make it really cute and everything. But yeah, right now I'm just like, eh. But one thing I don't miss, one thing that I'm going to do is in morning pages, baby. Never missed a day. And I still won't, period. I ain't got to knock on no wood. Hello. Anyways, I'm going to go and do my work for this. But yeah. I love you guys, and I love future Alexa who's watching this and being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to look like that with the baby face. I think I have a baby face right now. I feel like I have baby fat in my face, but I feel like when I get older, I'm going to go through this second wave of womanhood or second wave of puberty. That's just going to, and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I used to be like a little Bambi. Now I'm like a Black Panther. You feel me? Ah! Can't wait. Can't wait, actually. But yeah. Okay. Bye.